Welcome back to the broadcast, and we shift gears a bit to have a very, very important conversation. And this then we'll be having three guests from UNHCR to tell us, but not UNHCR, it's actually from HIAS. They'll be telling us what HIAS is all about, but it's about making sure that there's a safe space, especially for the girl child, and especially in these cases of gender-based violence cases that are in existence. And so I'll allow them or accord them the latitude to introduce themselves. We have Beatrice, we have David and Louise, but of course very, very important that we get to hear from the horse's mouth. So we start with Beatrice. Ladies first, how are you?
Fine.
You well? Karibu sana. Tell us something small about HIAS.
So HIAS is an organization that was started in 2002, and our main aim is to support the most vulnerable refugee who is living within Nairobi, within the urban areas. And probably someone is asking themselves, who is a refugee? A refugee is someone who has fled their country due to fear of persecution based on several factors, and someone may flee because of persecution due to their religion, due to their gender identity. Someone may have fled due to also war. Yeah. So these are some of the reasons that may push someone to leave their country, and we normally say that a refugee is someone who cannot go back to their home. Yes, and so as HIAS we come in to support those who reside within Nairobi, and we do this through various programs that we have for them, such as the mental health and psychosocial support program. Our refugees are individuals who experience a lot of trauma due to the lived experiences that they have been through, fleeing from their country, beginning life in a new country. So because of these things and all those stresses that they have experienced from home, then we come in to support them, with psychosocial support. We also support them with legal protection services, where we advocate for them, within Nairobi, and then also we come in to also just build their capacity. What are their, and inform them on what is expected of them and what rights they also have. We also support them with economic inclusion services, such as vocational training, seed capital, just to be able to enable them to be self-sufficient in this new country. And finally, we also do understand that due to war, we know that individuals use rape as a weapon of war. So there are those who have experienced gender-based violence, from home, in the country of origin, on transit, even as they were coming through, because it's used as a means of exchange sometimes, just to get them from place A to B. And then also even within, here in Nairobi, you may meet someone along the way and things happen. So because of that, we come in to support with prevention and response services for them.
And gentlemen, let's acknowledge that Beatrice has done us justice in terms of introducing HIAS, and perhaps we now have a good picture as to what then as an entity you do. You also must be privy to this information and reports, and sometimes we ask why that these ones that are support groups are the very same people that really are not offering the safe spaces for these refugees. In such cases, how is this being handled to make it a game of the past and not to appear as though I am firing shots, but you have reports of the same, right? Either of you can take as you introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, in terms of, my name is David, and I would say that we have reports, but specifically our focus is in the refugee population. Yeah. And sometimes the reports are very minimal. However, when we look at the national statistics, is that and today focusing on intimate partner violence, is that 41% or more than 41% of the women population in Kenya have undergone intimate partner violence. And when you look at more than 21% of those are living in an abusive relationship at the moment. So when you look at that, that's a bit significant.
Could you please expound what intimate partner violence then is?
Okay. Intimate partner violence is what commonly is known as domestic violence. And this is violence between two or more people who are in a romantic relationship. This could be people who are dating, people who are married, or could be in a past relationship, commonly known as exes, but these two or three when there's that abuse or aggression within them, then that is what we're calling intimate partner violence. Yeah.
All right, so Louise, how does it then occur in most cases? What are some of the red flags that we need to look out for to make sure that we identify that this is an abusive relationship? Because some people sit therein and they perhaps think that, you know, this is his way of loving me, this is her way of loving me. Some are actually going through emotional, you know, form of violence without knowing that this really is violence.
Yes, thank you for the question, and I'll take it in two parts.
Yeah.
In the first part, I'll look at the forms of violence, intimate partner violence. There is the physical violence, where violence or aggression or harmful acts on the basis of gender are being committed. Then we have sexual violence. Then we have psychological violence. And on psychological violence, we have people manipulating, using controlling behaviors to be able to either restrict or inhibit or manipulate their partners. And we also have economic violence, where somebody is in a situation or in a relationship where they have limited access to resources, and they are also denied access to go and look for resources, so they find themselves losing what we call in a relationship power or influence. So they find themselves vulnerable, and that is key, because when you are in a position where you do not have power in a relationship, you find yourself not being able to negotiate for instances like in safe sex, when you need to ensure that you are protecting yourself from STIs and HIVs. When the balance of power shifts to one end, you find yourself not being able to negotiate your way out of that situation to become safe and protect yourself. So you find yourself exposed and more vulnerable to infections such as HIV and the rest. With regards to the red flags, and some of the red flags begin with what you feel and where your mind is at. When you're in a situation, you're in a relationship, you should feel safe, you should feel protected, you should feel confident, you should be free to express yourself. But the moment you feel contrary to that, you start questioning yourself. Who are you with, and why are you feeling the way you're feeling? So that is the first red flag, and I'll advise to start questioning the situation that you're in and find ways of making that situation better.
Not a bed of roses, will agree, relationships are.
Yes.
And therefore, there could be quite a thin line as to where you get to know now this is not healthy and this is healthy. Yes. Perhaps we might need to understand that. So we also do not have people running away from their relationships in the name of this appears like it's not feeling good, and perhaps this then would be intimate partner violence. Let's take a short break and then we'll come back on that.
Thank you.
Okay.
The home of untold stories. Disability is not only limited to physical disorder, but also mental issue. From depression,
I was under depression for like 2 years.
bipolar,
Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder.
and even suicidal thoughts.
When I was just about to hang myself, a certain voice just talked to me, and I believe that was God. I tried suicide more than 6 times.
Beyond the Limit has gone beyond its limit to find answers so as to help everyone go through life with ease. Join Muthoni Maina every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Starting this September at 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday, The Realtor brings it all to perspective. We identify a property, discuss and demonstrate the journey towards ownership.
Professionals who have integrity, and from their catalog you can easily read that these are professionals who are able to deliver.
everywhere you go, you have to up your games, you have to go with the trends.
Not forgetting the margins as well as the risks that come along.
The runaway prices of the land. We are saying that it's something that we can never go without mentioning. Any developer will not go without mentioning price of land.
Don't miss out. Do you want the latest news on farming? We've got the WikiLeaks for you. Get it? No? Well, okay. Every week, we give you insights on different farms, from crop farming to animal keeping.
They're very hardy insects, yeah? The larvae is a very hardy insect.
We look forward to having an optimum production in maybe about 5 years. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we plant every week and we harvest every week.
Join Violet Njoki every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. as we skooma the wiki.
It's not all the time you have to read your farm. Sometimes it's of benefit.
Starting this September at 8:30 p.m.
Hi and welcome to The Grind. My name is Violet Njoki.
We continue to provide the platform that aims to inform and educate on business-related matter. We are here to ask all the relevant questions on your behalf.
When it comes to a catering business, do you need licenses?
Yeah, a lot of it.
And inform you what is happening in the business arena. Be sure to stay tuned.
I think it's good to understand that when we are giving out information, this information is not just targeting survivors. This information is also targeting perpetrators.
Okay.
And this is an opportunity for them also to reflect and also to find ways to either change the situation they're in or to be better persons as a whole. And when you are looking at intimate partner violence, and I love the comment that you made that marriage is not a bed of roses. And that comes to some of the misconceptions and myths that society as a whole have, that marriage is life, you should persist in a space because there are certain vows you've taken, you should be in the same space, because violence sometimes is an indicator of love. So those are what we call myths and misconceptions. And with information, we are able to unlearn. There is no situation that is permanent, and people can be supported to be better individuals, even in relationships. So we will not advise on what decision to take. We will provide information to be able to support not only the survivor, but also the perpetrator to be a better version of themselves and perform a better role within a relationship. And the importance of understanding this is sometimes when you're in a space and you have what you call a vulnerability and you have no power, sometimes the greatest battle you need to fight is the one you have with yourself. Breaking yourselves from those chains. And that needs knowledge, it needs patience, it needs also external support from friends and family.
All right, David, what has been the impact of IPV in our society, especially among the refugees, now that HIAS is hugely about the refugee? And when you talk about HIAS, is it just HIAS, or that's more of what the initials?
You can say HIAS Kenya.
HIAS Kenya, that's good enough. All right, so yes, the impact of the same?
Yeah, so the impact is quite huge, and in the bigger size, it's the mental health impact that goes across every form of violence. Anyone going through physical violence, sexual violence, economic violence, or whatever form of violence, there is a form of trauma that they undergo or distress. And so people will even have post-traumatic stress disorders, PTSDs. People will go into depressions. Other people have gone to the extremes of committing suicide and losing their life, you know. if people didn't die, then some of them even get to be to have disabilities from the physical violence. And you know, when you look at the society where there's a lot of intimate partner violence, women and girls are pushed to the margins of the society because they do not have a voice, they cannot express themselves, they cannot even pursue their potentials, they cannot even have the opportunity to express what they want. And if they do, then they are seen as people who do not respect the society. And this, the time, talking of the society is the men in that society. You know, people have gone to the extremes of losing their livelihoods. When we talk of economic violence, is where two people are working, and but one person is in control of the finances, or if not so, you are not supposed to work. You're supposed to sit in the house and take care of the home, look after the babies and all, and I'm the one to provide. But if I give you every single coin, you have to account back and tell me what you bought with that 200 shillings, you know, at the end of the day. And so that person will never realize that they can do something if they just sit in the house, not because of choice, but because they've been told that you have to sit there, you know. And when you look at sexual violence, there's a lot of reproductive health diseases that come with it, and also restrictions. For instance, you find that in that relationship, either probably, and most of the time, the woman cannot make a decision even of family planning. So they end up having as many children as the man wants, or until you know, they cannot have any more babies, you know, just because they cannot make a choice of having family planning. They end up getting infections because they cannot also make a choice of using protection in that relationship. One person has power over the other, and so the impact is huge, if I would say, yeah.
All right, Beatrice, this is a reality that it's not just happening to girls, in as much as that's where we perhaps started from.
Yes.
It is as well happening to men, those ones that suffer in silence, yeah? First of all, it's because a man is not allowed to cry. There's no way as a man then violence could be meted upon you by the woman. It is absurd, according to the society. Yes. But then again, there are spaces where people can go to report this, I think, which is the crucial aspect of all this conversation that we're having this morning. So what are some of these spaces where someone can, you know, say that I suspect this is a little bit abusive and perhaps raise an alarm?
Yes. So we have a national GBV hotline that is nationally used here in Kenya. It is 1195. This is a toll-free number that anyone who is undergoing intimate partner violence can be able to call, and they'll be able to get assistance. Specifically for refugees, we have 1517 1517. It is the UNHCR hotline where someone can call and receive assistance. Additionally, we have also police stations have gender desks, and so individuals can also be able to report at those gender desks, and also visit the county facilities where they can also be able to receive assistance. For refugees, as HIAS, we come in to support, and we have offices in various areas where we have high refugee population, such as in Kayole area at Nasra Gardens Estate. We also have an office in Isili, Juja A Estate, and we also have another office in Kawangware along Kenya Road. We are open from Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and people can come to report any case of intimate partner violence that they are facing. You've mentioned about men, and we work closely with, we have male and female counseling psychologists, so that an individual is able to choose the gender they would like to talk to and just be able to open up and share their issues. For someone also who's going through intimate partner violence, it's very important for them to receive support from family and friends, and this can only happen if the misconceptions that my colleague has mentioned happen, that you don't have to force someone to remain in a relationship where they are facing violence, right? And it is important for them to receive support. There is also need for such an individual to be able to create a safety plan. Yeah, due to various reasons, individuals who are undergoing intimate partner violence find it very difficult to live. Yeah, because of one or two reasons that they are privy to. Right. So it is very important for such an individual to be able to create a safety plan, to know, what are the signs of, an outburst is coming, for example. Two, that in my house, where is the safest place I can go if things, you know, happen to go haywire? And oftentimes you say it is near to an exit. Yeah. If you have children, it is also it's important to also, you know, bring them into this safety plan. Like have a safety word that you can use. Children, if I say this, it is time for us to leave, just so that you're able to protect yourself as well as your children.
Well put. And why this speciality or this special focus on the refugee community? Just how important would it be for us to address and actually prevent the intimate partner violence briefly?
Yes, it is important, it is key, because for one, refugees are human beings. They have the right to life, the right also to safety and security, to live with freedom from torture, cruel and degrading treatment. They are just human beings. They deserve this in spite of where they are coming from, who they are, their age, their creed, their gender identity or sexual orientation. They deserve to exist with their human rights to be respected and protected. Secondly, is that refugees are more vulnerable. They find themselves in spaces. Some of them do not know the language, they do not know the area, they do not know the people. They might be having mental health conditions such as PTSD that they are going through, and they find themselves vulnerable with nowhere to run to and nowhere to get assistance from. That's our key focus. And then finally also, because culture and faith also limits the space for individuals to seek support and help, because I'll give an example in a case where we have individuals who are in an intimate relationship, and this is a man and a man, and society shuns such relationships. So you find refugees in spaces like that, and because of the situation that they are in and they experience violence, they find it hard to report. They go to the police station, they will face stigma and discrimination and prejudice on the basis of faith and culture. And then they are inhibited from accessing those services. It becomes hard for them to report. That's why it is very key for us, especially as HIAS, to be able to offer support to the refugees in the urban area of Nairobi. And
so you work together with UNHCR, right? And you do?
Yes.
As HIAS?
Yeah.
Okay, so how important would it be for us to, address this, David, and, look at a future that would allow us to prevent and stop abusive relationships?
Yeah, I think it would be very important for us to address this, because if we do not, then we are raising a generation that is going to be full of trauma. And we say that trauma is not what you go through, but it's what happens in you after you've gone through a traumatic event. And so you realize that any child that is brought up in an environment that is abusive, then they will definitely have some character issues, some disorders, they will have some fears. They're just not going to be normal. Then you look at also the impact that we've talked about, you realize that there is just a lot that especially our women and girls are going to suffer. They're going to lose themselves. They're going to lose their potentials. They're not going to realize what they're able to do unless they're given that opportunity. But we are looking at a future that is has a nation that is well informed. People know their rights. People know where they can report these cases. People know where that a woman can talk and can be listened to, that a girl also has a voice in the family, and the father can be able to listen to that and support those dreams and support those ideas. And if there's correction, then it can be done in love and in a better way. There's a need for dialogues and not physical fights or any form of abuse. Women can also learn that you can also negotiate for anything without using sex as a weapon, or without going silent or mute on your partner. And when there's this communication in the relationship, then it means that we're going to have healthy relationships. And if healthy relationships are there, then we have healthy families. And if we have healthy families, then we have a healthy nation. And so I'm looking at a very well-informed and a healthy society in the future.
Wow, of course, that is what we're crossing fingers for. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That is Beatrice, David, as well as